All right. I think we're live on Instagram. Whoops. That's not what we need. And I think we're live on YouTube. So here we go. Hello. Happy Friday. It is beautiful at my house. Sunny and mild and feeling like spring, which I know is a complete illusion. However, I'm going to take it. And 1 week, a little more than 1 week out from changing the clock, so we have more daylight in the evening. Yes, I'm all for it. Okay, so I think we are functioning in both places. I am hoping we are live on YouTube and that we are live on Instagram, all in one process. Love it. You guys ask great questions. I am so excited to dive into this week's style Q&A and coach to the struggles and the questions that you have presented. I really appreciate your willingness to be vulnerable and to share information so that I can speak to, your specific struggle. You have probably heard me say many times, what is most personal is most universal. If you are wondering something, if you are struggling with something, chances are there are countless women who are also. I know this from my own personal situation and things that I get coached on or hear other people get coached on in my world, where I think, I was just thinking that same thing. I was just struggling with that same thing. And with my clients. My clients all have very different lives, very different styles, very different wardrobes, and they have very similar struggles. So bring on the questions. If you're not familiar with me and you just dropped in upon this live style Q&A, I am Kristen from Kristen Kane Style. I am a style and mindset coach. I help women with all the normal style stuff, the editing and the shopping and the outfit building and the packing for trips and what to wear to special occasions and understanding their own unique personal style. And I do that through all the traditional channels and also by helping them understand their thoughts and their feelings. So I am going to do just that and help you understand the thoughts and the feelings that can contribute to these struggles and also how to get out of them. So without further ado, let's dive in. I have quite a few questions today and I am going to answer all of them, and I am going to be mindful of not doing the deep dive that I really like to do. I am on YouTube now for over 10 years. I love a long format, kind of full answer and deep, going into whatever the question of the struggle is. And when I have so many questions, obviously I'm not going to do that. And I don't want you to have to wait because each one of these questions could be a full YouTube video. But the point of doing this style Q&A, as I used to do on Instagram, is to make sure I can answer a bunch of questions every week so that you don't have to wait, weeks while I film and then edit and then, upload a video. So here we go. Question number 1. How do you deal with buying clothes when weight fluctuates a lot? So I fully understand that this feels like an enormous style struggle and an enormous struggle in general. And so often that is one of the issues that happens in our wardrobe and with our style, is that there's a life circumstance like our weight fluctuating that then contributes to the frustration we feel in our closet. Because not only is the weight fluctuation frustrating on its own, but then when the things we want to have fit and feel a certain way don't, that adds to the frustration and makes it feel even more overwhelming and more difficult. So the first thing I would say is to as honestly and with as much compassion as you can and as kind of detached from the emotion, sort of like if you were looking at this problem or this situation with a friend and helping her evaluate it, try to get a little bit of space from it so that you're not so stuck in the struggle and in the feelings that come with the weight fluctuation, but instead you can evaluate it a little bit more just neutrally. And I would look at how often really does your weight fluctuate. So whether you go back, a month, whether you go back 6 months, whether you go back 4 years, look at kind of the pattern that you have been in. And if this is something that has just started, certainly I work, most of my clients are in menopause or right at the edge of menopause. And so there are changes to the body that come with that change in life, as well as health situations that are being managed by medication or managed in ways that also contributes to a change in the way your body looks and feels. And that change can happen throughout the course of a day, or that change can happen throughout the course of a week or a month, more like a menstrual cycle kind of used to affect our bodies. And or it can be something that goes on for months on end and then kind of shifts, as the year goes on. So I would start by just collecting some data. What is happening with your body from a very practical, frank, neutral place, not, oh, I'm so irritated about this, or my body is terrible because it's doing this. Try to remove as much emotion as possible. I realize that's difficult, but sometimes it can help if you pretend you're talking about a friend or a family member who you are attempting to help with this situation, so that you're not thinking about it as personally. And then once you have a pretty clear picture of, okay, what is my weight fluctuation situation? Is it truly I get dressed in the morning and by the middle of the day, the bloating and the tenderness and the changes in my body are such that the clothing I put on in the morning doesn't feel comfortable at the end of the day? Or is it that over the course of a month or a season, your weight fluctuates, or over the course of a year? So the things that you packed up last spring or, in the fall that were spring clothes, now you're ready to start to get those back out and they don't fit. What exactly is the situation? And then I would say, look at one season at a time. Really, truly don't try to anticipate, oh, nothing's going to fit me in the fall, or what am I going to do, next holiday season. Get really specific and tighten the focus just to the season that you're in, or the season ahead that you're planning to figure out your wardrobe for. And I would just get really clear on what would this look like if it were easy. And I know sometimes for perfectionists, which most of my clients have some perfectionistic tendencies, I do myself. And now that I understand them, I find it kind of fascinating the way my brain works and the way my clients' brains work around perfectionism. And so we don't often like things to be easy, because then it feels like it doesn't count. And so when we offer, well, what would this look like if it were easy? Our brain can sometimes automatically have a reaction that says, well, it can't possibly be easy. It's such a huge problem. But play with that. What would it look like if it were easy? If you were helping a friend and you wanted it to make it as easy as possible for her, what would this look like if it were easy? Well, in this case, I'm just going to toss out some examples. Well, if it were easy, I could really simplify my style so that I wasn't dealing with, woven blouses that fit some days, but then when my bust gets larger as the month goes on, or, whatever the change is, they get tight around the middle, or these pants, fall down when my weight changes, or they, are too tight when my weight changes. What would the simplest approach be? What would this look like if it were easy? Well, I could wear really beautiful, really simple, full dresses. I've never been a dress wearer, and part of my brain says, I don't want to wear dresses. But what if this were easy, to just buy a few beautiful dresses that would actually work no matter what is happening with your weight, that they would just flow and allow you to feel like you were beautifully dressed, and pick fabrics and colors and shapes that you really love, but that have the kind of forgiving nature in the style and the silhouette to allow things to be happening and changing with your body, so that it doesn't matter, because the dress will still fit. The same thing can be said for things that are stretchy versus things that are woven, things that have elastic waist or that have a drawstring waist, where possibly it's a wide skirt or a really full, fluid, soft pair of pants, either winter kind of pants that would be more knit and a little bit, denser and heavier and warmer, or something linen, or really soft and flowy cotton gauze for the summer, so that they really work depending on the size. And again, when you're collecting this data, you want to get really honest about how different is the fluctuation. What are the different sizes that you actually need to dress for? Is it that it really is, well, these jeans just feel too tight and I don't actually like wearing them on the day when my weight fluctuates? Because that could be, I love these jeans, this size doesn't fit me all the time, I'm just going to buy them in the next size up so that I have both options, and I will wear a belt as needed, and just, make sure that I have both sizes, so that depending on what's happening with my body, I can still wear the jeans I love. But if it's a larger fluctuation, a bigger fluctuation, then you want to make sure that you have what you need to get dressed. And the question was how to deal with buying clothes when your weight fluctuates a lot. I would really strongly suggest that you don't try to buy clothes when your weight is fluctuating, unless this is something that is just absolutely going to be a permanent situation and condition for you for the rest of your life. And regardless, like I said, you want to look at the season ahead and solve the problem for now. So if the fluctuation is rather noticeable and you really can't just kind of unbutton the pants and be more comfortable, or buy one size up in the jeans and have those work, then I would really look at what are the sizes. Are there 2 sizes? Are there 3 sizes? And buy just a couple of pieces in each size range so that no matter how your body feels on any given day, you have something in your closet that you like wearing. Because the problem happens with our brain when it starts all the negative self-talk and kind of makes us feel terrible when the things in our closet don't work for the body we have that day, when our today body isn't actually supported by what's in our closet. So you want to make sure that you have not a capsule that's 100 pieces for every weight size. Certainly that's unnecessary and more of an expense and, just not where we need to go. But we want to make sure you have a few pieces that you can wear in every situation, no matter what's happening with your weight and your size, so that you feel good when you get dressed. And again, there are a lot of options out there that can be forgiving with different body types and different body sizes, even fluctuating throughout the week or the day. And I know this because I work with clients who have this same situation. So we want to make sure that you find the fabrics you like the most, that feel good next to your skin and that move and work with your body as it changes, or that you have a couple different sizes in your closet so that you can go to those depending on the day and depending on how you're feeling, and make sure that you have what you need. So I don't think that yes, it's dealing with shopping and buying clothes with weight fluctuation, but once you solve the problem for a season, you won't have to keep resolving it. If there is other hesitation or other frustration rather about wanting to shop but not feeling like you can because your weight fluctuates, then it's also about the kindness and the awareness of, right now that isn't the best use of my money to keep buying things not knowing if they're going to fit. How about I spend my time and energy and money on creating a couple of capsules for the different sizes that I might be over the course of this season, so that I have pieces I know I can count on. So that is really where I would start. Again, I could deep dive further into this, but I would really explore looking outside of the box, possibly outside of what you usually wear and have historically worn pretty regularly, and allow there to be possibilities of, I never considered dresses. Maybe I actually could find a couple of dresses I love. Or I never considered kind of a flowy, loose skirt. That actually could work really well. Allow yourself to explore other options and to take the time to go try them on and find some pieces that work so that the shopping can be finished and you can just be getting dressed and enjoying that. I hope that is helpful. Thank you for that question. All right, sip of tea. And how about the fact that tomorrow is the last day of February? Nothing against February. My husband's birthday was this week. I am a fan of February, and I'm very glad it's short. I like the warmer months that come after. Okay, next question. So this is in response to a YouTube video that I put up recently. So I'm going to read the whole thing so you have a little context. I actually do like this part. I actually do this part and process fairly easily. This is a video I posted recently about updating my wardrobe and kind of going through my closet and kind of resetting it. Where I tend to get, and this is super common, what I'm about to share, where I tend to get stuck is in the trying on stage. I'll say, I like this. I'm not wearing it. Let me try it on. And then when I try it on, I think, well, I like this. It's really cute. I should wear this. And then back in the closet it goes, never to be worn again, not to come out to be worn again. How do I get out of this particular merry-go-round? So this could easily be a full YouTube video. So I'm going to keep this one kind of tight and say, first of all, a long time ago, I did in my own wardrobe and then started to do with my clients a wear everything challenge, where you literally challenge yourself to wear every single piece in your closet over the course of a season, with the exception of hiking clothes if you're not going hiking, or the ball gowns if you're not going to a formal event. But anything that could be worn for this season as part of your regular wardrobe, those pieces that when you put them on in the process of kind of organizing your closet or going through to edit pieces, you think, well, this is really cute. Let me try it on. Oh, of course, it is really cute. I'm going to keep it in my closet. I'm going to challenge myself to wear it. And then you never wear it. So the wear everything in your wardrobe challenge, super simple. There are a lot of different ways you can do it. One of the easiest ways is to, I'll give you the 2 easiest ways. Turn all the hangers around the other way. So make all the hangers so that the hooks face you on the rail in your closet. And then as you wear a garment, turn it around the right way so that everything will be facing you. All the kind of the ends of the hooks will be facing you. I can't tell where the camera is for Instagram. So they'll all be facing you. And then as you wear a piece, you're going to hook it back so that it faces the right way in the closet. This will give you a very clear indication over the course of a month of what pieces you have worn and what pieces you have not. You are welcome to rewear pieces. Certainly when I did this, I realized, well, I have bottoms. I have far fewer bottoms than I do tops. And so if I wear the bottoms and keep wearing through the tops, I'm going to need to keep repeating the bottoms. No problem. And you can just keep hanging those back, facing the proper way. But what you want at the end of whatever the time is, and for most women, honestly, this process takes more than a month because they have more than 30 pieces to go through. So however long that takes, wear the items, challenge yourself to wear them, and then once you wear them, hang the hanger back the right way. At the end of the time, you will be able to see the pieces that you are avoiding. And you don't have to do this in order. For me specifically, and for most of my clients, my closet is organized by type and then by color. So I have all the tank tops together and all the short sleeve t-shirts and all the long sleeve t-shirts, and then it's lights to darks. So I would be wearing a tank top every single day, and then a light t-shirt every day, and then a dark blazer every day. So you can certainly jump around, but you want to keep hanging the hanger back so that you can see what wasn't worn. The other way to do it is by tying a ribbon on the rail itself at one end. Every time you wear something, you put it on the other side of the ribbon. You just kind of keep sliding the ribbon down and, moving things over. All the things that don't make it to the other side of the ribbon, you can see that you're avoiding wearing. Then what you can do is get very clear on why, or push yourself a little further when you get to those last 8 or 10 items or last 40 items, whatever it is. Challenge yourself to keep going. Okay, these are the items I've been avoiding. I'm going to force myself to wear them and see what's happening here. And I have shared many times on several different YouTube videos about a red leather blazer that I bought at a vintage store in Italy. My daughter and I went in. The woman who worked there thought we were French, or she was just being kind, but she did in fact say that she thought we were French. We were not French, but it's the highest compliment you could possibly give me. This jacket was an affordable price. It was a beautiful lipstick red. It was a blazer shape, traditional blazer shape in this red. I thought it was going to be a favorite piece in my closet forever. I do not own it anymore because when I finally wore it, I realized that it was way too stiff and really hurt my arms, and I couldn't wear it all day. And as a red leather blazer, I was never going to wear it enough to really break it in to be more comfortable, if that could even happen. But I had held on to that piece. Every time I put it on when I did a closet edit, oh, it's really cute. I can't wait to wear it. I'm kind of saving it for the right occasion. It didn't belong in my wardrobe. So if we don't get really clear on what is the disconnect between we try it on, we look in the mirror, it's really cute, I should wear this, and then we don't wear it. Because once you either do the challenge, you will see the things that you're avoiding or the things you wear, and by the end of the day, you're like, this hurts my arms, or I actually just don't like it, or it's itchy, or it's too short, or I don't have anything that matches it. I didn't like the way that looked. And then you can evaluate further. Okay, does this deserve a place in my wardrobe? Because if you keep avoiding wearing it, we want to understand why. We want to evaluate what would it actually take for this piece to come out of my closet, go on my body, and leave the house to go do something? What would make me choose this? Because otherwise it's just taunting you. And when you see it, whether in your closet or when you do a closet edit, then that whole cycle starts again. Oh, right, it's really cute. I'm telling you, I see this with clients. Every time I do a closet edit, they have these pieces that they tell me they've had for so many years and they're just not wearing them. Oh, I'm going to wear it now, but there's something that prevents you from wearing it. So we want to identify that something. Is it that you don't have anything to go with it? Is it that it reminds you of a time in your life where you really liked it, but you're not that version of you anymore? That happens a lot because we evolve and we change. And even if the piece still fits and it seems like it's practical to keep it, and the style is still somewhat authentic for us, if we're not wearing it, we want to keep digging and finding out why. Because those pieces that hang in our closet unworn are the pieces that make it feel dramatic and like there's friction when we go to get dressed because they taunt us. Oh, remember me? You're not wearing me. You think I'm cute, but you don't ever put me on. We want to get clear on why. So really, truly, start to assess what is it about this piece that makes me not ever wear it out of the house, and then see, is that something that can be modified? Well, I just don't have a top to go under it, and I actually would really wear it if I had the top to go under it. I do want to caution you that oftentimes that's the answer. Well, if I had it shortened, well, if I had a top to go under it, well, if I had the right color pants to wear with it, or if I had the right layer to go over it. And then the client will do that work to, collect that piece and add that to their wardrobe, and then they still don't wear the item that they thought would be made better by the addition of the new piece. So just be sure that you dig as deep as you can as to the why you're not actually wearing it. And one of the fastest ways to get started, as I said, is to do the Wear Everything in Your Wardrobe challenge and just challenge yourself to put those pieces on your body. Even if you're not leaving the house, wear it around the house, because often that's enough time to give you the clarity of, oh, the collar itches like crazy. There's no way. Or the whole time I'm wearing it, it feels like it's falling backwards, or it's falling forwards, or it's sliding off my shoulder. When we just put it on for a minute and look in the mirror, we're looking at the ideal situation. Oh, it's perfect. Look at this. But when we actually start to wear it in our daily life, it can usually trigger and trip the kind of, here's why it doesn't work and why it should probably be passed on. I hope that is helpful. That is a super common problem, and the wearing everything can really start to shed a lot of light on that. More tea. Okay. Next question, or next struggle. I've been over shopping lately. I think it comes down to FOMO. I have too many choices. Just me? No, not just you. I promise you, this is outrageously common. One of the reasons this is outrageously common is because we have so many options. Really, truly, we can go almost nowhere, even Costco, Target, Walmart, and not be bombarded with a whole lot of pretty decent clothing options. So it's not that, everything in those places is top quality and worth having, but you could argue a case for a lot of the pieces that you can see, even when you're running in to pick up, salsa and chips. So understanding that it is not what we grew up with to have so many options. And we have Instagram, where we constantly see what everyone who is doing it right is wearing and where they're buying it. And then we have the internet. If we dare to click on something and get into then a store or a manufacturer or retailer's website and see all that they have to option beyond what the influencer was sharing with us, it's so many choices. And so that FOMO, that fear of missing out, is very real, because we are afraid that we'll get left behind, and that, well, if I don't keep, challenging myself to buy the new thing and to, look put together and to buy new pieces that feel like the new season or the new trend or whatever, even if we're not trendy, we tend to feel like we're going to be left behind, or that we love to shop and we're just going to miss out on a great piece if we don't, go do the shopping. So if you've been over shopping lately and you have too many, and two is written in all caps, you have too many choices already, I think that I'm not someone who usually suggests kind of shopping freezes, but I am someone who suggests shopping your closet. And so those two can go together, where for a certain amount of time, you would not shop and just shop your closet. Because what I'm hearing is, I've been over shopping lately and I have too many choices. I'm thinking that those choices are in your closet, not that those choices are out in the real world. But if I'm wrong, please let me know. And then I can, change I can adjust this and message back and forth with you to give you a little more info. But if you have too many choices already in your closet, then I would absolutely challenge yourself to wear what you already own and begin making outfits and utilizing what you have. And certainly you can use Pinterest as kind of a shopping tool without buying anything. Kind of curate what you like on Pinterest and then shop your own closet to create looks that are similar, so that you're not actually having to shop more, and you're getting to kind of have that same hit of, oh, these are the new outfits that I like that I've created on Pinterest. What do I have in my own closet that I could actually use to make outfits that are similar? And then if something shows as, okay, I pinned all these things and they're all missing a light colored cardigan, or they're all missing a great pair of pale blue jeans, and I don't have those in my closet. I mean, they all have that, and I don't have that in my closet. Then you can decide, okay, now I am going to shop, and I'm shopping with intention and with a purpose, because I now see something that's missing from my wardrobe that I would really like to add, so I could make my outfits more intentional and more in keeping with the vision I have for myself. And I think the fear of missing out really comes down to, and the over shopping is kind of, what would you need to be willing to feel in order to not shop? In order to just be okay with that FOMO, what is the feeling? What is the uncomfortable, likely feeling that you would need to be willing to feel? Because when we're willing to feel the feeling and not do the thing that is kind of preventing us from just sitting in that discomfort, usually then the desire kind of dissipates because we've accepted the feeling. Okay, if I decide that I'm not going to shop and I have that fear of missing out, and the discomfort is, that anxiety possibly, or the disappointment of not being able to go look for something to put in your cart or to go to the store and try something and bring it home, and that feels like a letdown of some sort. Just allow yourself to be let down, allow yourself to be disappointed, allow yourself to feel kind of anxious at the thought of missing out. You have likely lived long enough to recognize that if you miss out on something, there is going to be something brand new right behind it that you could buy instead, and or the piece that you missed out on is going to be available from different retailers as it comes kind of down the chain, and or on sale in months, or on Poshmark or some resale site or at the thrift shop. So recognizing that the hit that you want could probably be achieved by just going to your own closet and shopping and making that as much fun as the actual shopping for pieces, and recognizing that you really truly are not missing out on anything. And the best way to know if you in fact are is to shop your closet. Get a vision on Pinterest, shop your closet and make some outfits that feel like those outfits. And then really, truly, with clarity, evaluate what is missing and then have fun shopping for that, so that you're not missing out on shopping in general, but you're shopping with intention, and you're shopping to actually fill a gap in your wardrobe that will make it easier to get dressed and make you look and feel more authentic and fabulous and aligned when you wear your clothes. I hope that's helpful. Super common. Super, super common. All right. You got the drill. T. Okay. Next one. And this, I mentioned over on YouTube when I put up the question box. Sometimes the question box often does not have enough characters to really tell me what you want to tell me. So feel free to DM me. This person sent me a DM with more information and then sent me a picture and a little more information. That is so helpful. So I love that. Thank you. So I'm going to read her information here. And I paraphrase a little when it's a lot of information. I just kind of cut it down. So I'm short, 4 foot 10 inches. I'm 60 years old. I have hips. I weigh 106 pounds. I struggle to find clothes that are proportional to my size. I buy shirts that I really like, but they are way too long. I like casual clothes that look nice. I'm starting to wear jeans again. I like a good shirt, but I can't seem to find any. It's hard to find clothes that fit properly. So hard to find petite clothes that are stylish. So I certainly understand this. I have several clients, current clients, a couple, and several past style therapy clients who are very petite. And this was an absolute problem and struggle that they had dealt with really their whole adult lives. And so I fully understand that this is an issue. And I also understand that petite sizing is not regulated in any way. So one brand's petite versus another brand's petite can fit very differently. And also there are usually some elements of everyone's body where even if we kind of qualify as petite, then possibly we can wear straight size something. So we might, be under 5 foot, but our legs are kind of long based on the proportion for our body, or our bust is really big and therefore we can't really fit in a true petite that isn't cut for a larger bust. So I understand that from a manufacturer standpoint, there aren't a whole lot of options necessarily that make it super easy to go shop as it might be at a straight size. I completely understand that. So my thought here is, first of all, I saw the picture that you sent that was very recent, and your outfit looked great. And it looked great specifically from a proportion standpoint. So this person had on a long skirt, and some would say, okay, well, she's 4 foot 10. How can she wear a long skirt? My guess is at 4 foot 10, most skirts she puts on are long, and the proportion worked. So cute pair of sandals, long skirt, a cute texture pattern denim jacket, and a top, and the proportion worked. The denim jacket fit and hit her where I would have suggested if we were shopping together, kind of right at her hip. The sleeves weren't too long. It didn't look like the outfit was swallowing her up. And so I wanted to just mention that you're already doing it well. And I love that you're working toward jeans again. In your situation specifically, because you are a pretty traditional petite size, and I can't see your hips really in that outfit, and it seems like you have learned to dress them in a way that just, they look very much in proportion, and it looks like the skirt fit beautifully, and you had lots of, nice room, and it was flowy. I believe that, based on some of my other clients, that you probably can shop in the children's or teens department, which is a bonus because oftentimes the kind of teen kids department, where you can, get in the 10 to 12, 13, 14, kind of that middle age between childhood and adulthood. When those fit you as a petite, you usually have a better chance of having them feel stylish because they're designed for tweens who are wanting to look stylish at that kind of middle school, early high school stage. And yes, sometimes they can be far too embellished or kind of over the top trendy, but there are definitely, I know H&M does a great job with their kind of that teen 13, 14 size, where the proportions are slightly smaller than a woman's small or extra small, but they still have the style and they have some simplicity. They don't necessarily have, what you might find. I don't even know if Children's Place is a thing anymore, but my kids certainly were kids when Children's Place was a thing. And it tended to be a lot at somewhere like Children's Place. So I also would get really clear on what brands do fit you best. So if Loft Petites or Talbot Petites or Old Navy Petites, if somebody tends to have tops that work for you, I would make sure to stock up and be sure to shop there first. And if you don't know that right now, then that's kind of the style field trip that you need to take, and the initial sort of investment in time and energy to go source and, find those pieces and those brands that tend to work for your body. Anthropologie does petites. I had lots of petite clients when I worked at Anthropologie. They don't often have them on the floor, except in larger stores. So you could ask, because when clients order online and when customers order online and then return petites to the Anthropologie stores, they are usually put in back stock. And then eventually, when there are enough of them, they are shipped on to somewhere else where petites can be sold on the floor. Having trouble with those. So you could ask when you go into Anthropologie, do you have any petites? I'm a petite, whatever. I'm looking for pants. I'm looking for tops. And they are just hanging in back stock, and they are more than happy to go search that for you. That's a little Anthropologie pro tip. So find the brands and the stores that support the way that your body fits into clothing, so that you can have some options for tops that you actually like. The other thing is, if you find a top you actually like that is just too long, then I would find a tailor that you love who can, or if you sew yourself, so that you can lob off the bottom of those and make the shape a little bit different and the proportion a little better so that it works for your body. And certainly long skirts are great. Dresses are great. If you're wearing jeans again and finding some jeans you love, also great. The other thing that I would mention, which I think people shy away from because it seems like such a high-end kind of luxury option, is to find a top you love and have a seamstress make you multiple. I work with a couple of clients who are seamstresses themselves, and one client had a top in her closet that she absolutely loved, and then she went on to make multiple in other fabrics that she picked that she thought were, that she loved and worked for her wardrobe, and now she has multiple of that same top she loved. So it's not usually as outrageously expensive as our brain tells us it's going to be. And if it's such a struggle to find pieces that you love that fit really well, then spending that extra money to be able to have pieces that work for your body and that are made custom for you can actually be well worth the expense. And the last thing I'll say is, I would also, if you have any or can get to any decent resale or thrift stores or consignment stores, oftentimes older, at this stage, things are looser, and over the last 5 or 6 years, brands and manufacturers and retailers and designers have started to make things easier and slouchier and more roomy. So I know from petite clients I work with that can be more of a challenge, because now an extra small no longer fits like what an extra small fit like 15 or 20 years ago. So if you can shop at the thrift level, oftentimes you can find the pieces that were, a small or an extra small that are actually now more traditional petite sizing, but they're from a different era. So that's also an option. And it allows you to have some unique pieces that are, not from the children's department and that were not handmade. Or if you find one you love, you could go have somebody duplicate it. But sometimes the thrift shop, I find, and my clients have found, can have proportions that are better because they have older pieces that were made when things were a little bit smaller. I hope that that is helpful. I certainly understand that that is a struggle. I actually, at some point in the last, I don't know, 8 or 9 months, I was in Costco at the checkout, self-checkout, and there was a woman shopping with her daughter and a new baby. So we were kind of chatting, about the new baby. And this woman was about 4'10" and similar sizing and shape to this person who asked the question. And I commented and asked her, I said, can you share she looked dynamite. Her outfit was very simple and very understated, very classic, very chic. And she said, I get a lot of my clothes in the kids department, and it worked. Nordstrom kids department has some really kind of sophisticated looking pieces that are simpler and cleaner lines that work for a grown woman. So I hope that is helpful. Okay. We have a couple more questions, and I think these are going to be a little lighter, not lighter in subject matter, but I think they'll be easier and quicker to answer. Tea break. Okay. And this one kind of feeds into the one I just mentioned. So this person's style struggle is finding the right fitting items is exhausting. I understand that. I really do. And when we have the thought, finding the right fitting items is exhausting, then it really is a self-fulfilling prophecy, and we get more of that. Because when our brain thinks finding the right fitting items is exhausting, it doesn't feel good. If I were to ask you, which I would if you were my client, when you think finding the right fitting items is exhausting, what do you feel? What feelings come up when you think that? Likely it's disappointment, frustration, sadness, irritation, hopelessness, helplessness. Whatever the feelings are that come up, they continue to contribute to, well, I'm just not going to shop, and I'm, going to, not bother to try to find things that fit better. I'm just going to wear the things I have. I'm going to wear the lazy go-tos. It doesn't lead to actions that actually solve the problem. So if we can just soften that a little bit so that it doesn't feel so negative and bring up the feelings of, this is hopeless, I don't know why I bother, it's so frustrating and so irritating and so disappointing. Again, I'm assuming based on the work that I do with women that those might be some of the feelings you're feeling. So has there ever been a time when finding the right fitting items wasn't exhausting? Are there any items in your closet that you love the way they fit? If so, can you duplicate those? Can you find similar, pieces at the same retailer or at a different retailer? What works about those pieces? Why why are those pieces in your wardrobe? Why did you make those decisions? Were you just exhausted and had to buy something? Did you actually really think, I love the way this fits and I rarely find anything that I really love the way it fits, so that's why it gets to come home? Dig around a little bit as to what is happening. Are you maybe not shopping in enough stores? Have you not opened up the options of where you could find things that fit? I know with a lot of women I work with, as their lifestyle and body changes, if they keep shopping in the same stores, the frustration keeps growing often if those pieces either aren't aligned with their personal style any longer, or if they don't fit as well, or if the quality isn't the same, or if the prices are higher. If we only stay with what we've always known because we feel that frustration and we're like, I'm going to keep making this work. I don't want to find another store. I took a lot of time to find these stores and I'm just going to keep trying to do it. But if they're not working for you, then we need to expand the search. We need to be curious about it and wonder a little bit. I wonder where I could find some pants that fit. I wonder where I could find better fitting tops, or I wonder if there's a different shape I could be trying that would fit better and be an easier fit for me. We want to open up the possibilities, and when we're feeling like it's just exhausting, then of course our brain doesn't want to come up with any more possibilities. It says, it's exhausting. I'm just wearing these lazy go-tos or the sweatpants or whatever I have, the ratty old jeans that I really don't love anymore. They're so worn out, but it's exhausting to find something new. So we want to change even a little bit the way we're thinking about it. And usually it's a matter of opening up the possibility with, there are women who have similar body types to me who find clothes that fit really well, so I can too. Like really starting to change the words that you say to yourself and the message that you send so that you open it up to, I wonder what I can do about this. Get curious, because there is a solution, whether it's having a tailor. Okay, I'm buying these and they don't fit really well, but I'm going to have them tailored. Again, I know that so often we think that that is such a high-end luxury thing to have. And I'm not saying that it's not. I recognize when you pay good money for clothing, you don't necessarily want to have it tailored. And if you want to solve this frustration and have it not be so exhausting to be able to get dressed, then possibly having someone alter your clothing is necessary. I worked at Neiman Marcus for several years, and I worked in the couture salon, and every single piece, almost without fail, that anyone purchased was sent to alterations. The alterations team came in and they nipped and tucked and did what they needed to do to these thousands and thousands of dollar garments, and then they were taken back to alterations and they were, stitched and fixed to fit the body perfectly, and then sometimes delivered to the home, or the client would come back and pick them up. But it was unheard of that someone would spend thousands of dollars on a Chanel suit or an Armani dress and not have it altered. It was so rare. So I know that that is the highest end example, but there is nothing wrong with deciding, okay, I actually love these pants and they don't fit exactly the way I want to, so I'm going to take them to a tailor and see what they could do for me, whether those are in your wardrobe now or new pieces. But understanding that paying attention to the thought and the feeling that it creates is where the problem starts. Because when it feels exhausting, of course you don't want to try to solve the problem. There's no curiosity, there's no wonder. It's just, this is hopeless, I don't want to figure it out. And it's maddening. And I'm not saying it's not maddening. It's just that if you can open your mind and the possibility door a little bit to wonder how I can solve this problem. Again, I often go back to, what would you tell your best friend? What would you tell your sister? What would you tell a coworker? Well, it's hopeless. You're never going to find any good fitting clothing. And the problem is that's often what happens. Misery loves company. So if we're commiserating about something and we find someone else who's feeling something similar, we don't tend to try to solve the problem. We just get deeper in the muck. And I want to challenge you and offer that you could change the way you're thinking about it a little bit, and it will open up some doors in other avenues, and possibly to other clothing and to a great tailor who could do just a tiny adjustment, or maybe a massive adjustment, but make the clothing fit the way you want it to. I hope that that is helpful. I fully understand that it is frustrating to not feel like clothing fits. I talked last week about flat butts. I have a flat butt and I didn't always. And so I am frustrated often when I go to try on pants and everything about them is great. And then it's like, well, I don't have any seat. This isn't going to work. Or there isn't enough curve, or there's too much curve. We all experience this, and it is very frustrating. And yet the way to solve it is to be curious and wonder, how can I solve this, and begin to explore some new options. I hope that is helpful. Okay, switching to water now. This next one, also huge. So this struggle is, I don't have the lifestyle to wear it in. So style struggle is, I don't have the lifestyle to wear the wardrobe I either have or want to have, is what I'm kind of assuming from this. This is massive. This is something I think most of my clients struggle with, because oftentimes the women I work with are of the age where if they were working, they were recently working and now they're retired or heading into retirement. And so there's this transition of, I used to kind of know exactly what to wear because this was what was expected of me in the workplace. And now that's no longer the case. And so I kind of don't really know what to wear, but I still have this mindset that's kind of, well, this is what I like, even if maybe now that I'm retired, I might like something different, but I don't really have what I need to wear in my everyday life. That the things that I like, possibly from a past version of myself, or possibly from a time when I lived somewhere else, or just kind of my fantasy self wants to wear a certain thing, but in my real life, it's kind of not practical because I don't go the places where those would be necessary, or, I just don't have that kind of lifestyle. And so first I want to mention a lovely human who was a client at Anthropologie when I worked there in Colorado. And this woman blew my mind. And she was probably 10 years younger than I am, maybe even 12 years younger than I am. She had younger kids, and she would come in to shop at Anthropologie, and she would be dressed so impeccably that it always made me take notice and kind of made me feel like I wasn't all that dressed. I'd think, I look like a frump next to you, which is kind of an interesting thing to feel when you work at Anthropologie and you're supposed to be the example of someone who's put together and stylish and all of that. Her bra and underwear would always match. She would have silk, if she was wearing a skirt, she would have a silk slip on. She would have a silk camisole on under her big chunky sweater with her jeans. She was just so meticulous about the attention to detail. And Boulder, Colorado is a very casual place. And she was always dressed authentically and aligned with who she is and how she wants to look when she gets dressed. And I haven't seen her in years, but my guess is she's still embodying that every day when she gets dressed, no matter what she's doing. So we all have that choice. And I think part of the problem comes when we don't want to make that choice. We don't want to decide to either wear the better thing than everyone else and look like we're really put together and have on the matching bra and panties if that matters to us and have on the beautiful silk undergarments. We don't really want that, but we want something that we feel like we can't have. So when there's this kind of vague quality to all of this, it can be difficult to solve. So in this, I don't have the lifestyle to wear it. What is the thing that doesn't feel right or doesn't feel aligned? Is it that you want the lifestyle to wear the clothing that you have? And possibly that's more elevated, and is my guess, again, just from every client, most of my clients don't say, I wish that my lifestyle was more casual, although it could work exactly in reverse. But if you are wishing your life had something different that you could get dressed for, then the challenge would be to create that in your own world. Even if, and I've had clients who have done this, where one woman just was like, I'm just going to start a supper club because I want to wear my beautiful clothes and I don't go anywhere. And so I'm just going to have my friends over and we're going to have some sort of a supper club. And that was an excuse to begin wearing her clothing that she wasn't wearing on a regular basis. The other thing is sometimes we need to do the reconciling in our brain and in our thoughts and in our feelings about, I really wish my lifestyle was different, whether that's a circumstance that's now changed. Like I used to go out all the time and my husband died. And so now I never go out anymore. Certainly there are very real circumstances that change the way our lives go and the clothing that we are, that we need and want to wear for those, occasions and or not. And it can be difficult to decide, my life is now more casual, my life is now more at home, and I don't really want to embrace that more casual, simple life with a casual, simple wardrobe. But sometimes if we're willing to do that, we can decide, I'm only going to wear beautiful cashmere sweaters and the most yummy, soft, elastic waist, pants, cashmere or not, something knit and terrific that looks like I'm in a Nancy Meyers movie and, I have on this beautiful matching set. We can decide that the lifestyle and the life that we live now, even though it doesn't feel like we can use all the clothing in our closet, we can use it in more creative ways. I have lots of clients where that exact situation has happened. They now stay home more than they used to, but they have these beautiful sweaters. They have these beautiful pashminas and things that they could actually be wearing to watch a movie on a Saturday night at home, but they haven't made the shift and given themselves permission to make that part of their new kind of home casual clothing, capsule. So it's one of two things. If you don't have the lifestyle to wear your clothes in, then it's really evaluating which thing do you want to change. Do you want to make more occasions where you could wear that clothing? Do you want to make that clothing work in your everyday life? What pieces could you kind of wear and use in a different way? Certainly if it's pencil skirts and you never leave the house, maybe you're not going to wear pencil skirts at home. So it might be, okay, but I have these great sweaters that I used to wear with the pencil skirts. Now I just need a different bottom that would translate into a home outfit. So you need to get clear on kind of, and you could do both. You could begin, once a month, I'm going to make myself go somewhere. I'm going to create a reason to wear these clothes twice a week. I follow an account, I think it's called If It's Tuesday on Instagram. It's a woman who lives somewhere, I think, further on the East Coast. I live in Utah, so I don't live on the East Coast. I used to. She lives in the East, in the direction of the East. And she decided at some point in the not too distant past, last several years, that if it was Tuesday, she was getting dressed in real clothes like she would have in whatever past, iteration of her life was. She was going to wear real clothes. Her account has a massive following. Her style is very kind of preppy, classic, East Coast, fabulous. And she's dynamite. And I don't know her personally, but I know that she just decided, if it's Tuesday, I'm getting dressed. I know other influencers, Instagrammers who I follow who do the same thing for whatever their reasons are. And you can challenge yourself to do the same. Okay, my lifestyle has changed. I don't really have anywhere to wear these clothes. You can wear them at home. The person who would come into Anthropologie in the silk slip and the skirt and the beautiful shoes, she didn't really have anywhere to go in that outfit by, go in the way that we all look at, well, I need to have an occasion to wear these clothes or to wear that outfit. I'm saving it for something better. Who says? Why can't we just wear it on any given day? We absolutely can. So, do you have the clothing you want to be wearing right now for the life you live? And if you don't, I would start to explore that. Use Pinterest, create this is my casual, relaxed, most of the time at home vibe that I want to create, and then shop your closet and then add pieces accordingly. And if you have the pieces and you're just not having somewhere to wear them, then I would create a reason to get dressed, whether if it's Tuesday, or I'm going to, make every once a week I'm going out to brunch. Once a week I'm doing whatever, so that you can begin to use that wardrobe. I hope that is helpful. All right, last one. I have no idea where we are on time here. Okay, yeah, getting there. Okay. Although this is a lot of questions to move through in an hour, 50 minutes, whatever it's been. Last one. This person's style struggle is a cohesive closet. This, again, could absolutely be a full-on YouTube video. So the thing about this is, just like anything that we desire, whether it's, stronger arms or a cleaner pantry or being a better cook or having a more, lush, abundant garden or a cleaner house, like any of the things that we want, a cohesive closet, we have to do the work to make it happen. And so that work starts with really getting clear on what does your brain say is a cohesive closet? What is not happening in your closet right now that is making it not feel cohesive? Is it that it's a mess? Is it that there is just stuff everywhere? And that if you got the things out that aren't actually part of getting dressed and you straightened up and you dusted and vacuumed and hung everything kind of going the same way and maybe bought matching hangers and put things in order of, type of clothing and then color, so it looked a little more like a boutique and all of that, would that make a difference? Would that make it feel more cohesive? Do you actually have what you need, but it's been just such a mess that you haven't been able to actually utilize it? If that's not the case and it feels like, well, my color palette's all over the place, nothing actually goes together, or it's a whole bunch of different sizes and I'm not sure any of them even fit, or I don't even know if I like those because they're from when I worked or from before I moved, to a different state, or whatever the case is. Get clear on what doesn't feel cohesive about it. And then begin to create the cohesiveness that it's missing. Is it that it needs to be cleaned up? Set aside the time to begin to go through and do that. Is it that there are way too many pieces that don't fit? Set aside the time to try on one category at a time and be really honest about, is this going to work for me now? If it doesn't, box it up. You don't have to get rid of it, but don't leave it hanging in your closet to taunt you if it does not fit your today body. And I have clients tell me often, well, I'm using that as incentive. I believe it will fit in the future. That is totally fine. But when I ask further questions about, do you feel motivated when you see that piece? Does that make you feel good or not so good? The answer is almost always, I feel kind of lousy when I see it because it still doesn't fit. We want to box those up and move them out of the closet so they are not causing that constant friction. So what are the things that will create a cohesive closet for you? And possibly your brain is saying, well, I have no idea. So if you have no idea, you want to go into your closet and pick the things that you love the most. What pieces do you love the most, whether you're wearing them now or not wearing them now? If you're wearing them now, great. What do you love about them? Kind of evaluate what works about them. Would I buy them again? Do I wish I had them in other colors? If they're pieces you're not wearing, then I would evaluate that. Am I not wearing them because they don't fit right now and I actually don't know if they'll fit, and it would be nicer if I didn't even have to look at them? Do they have a stain on them I can't get out? Do they need to be shortened and I've just never taken them to be shortened? A cohesive wardrobe happens by paying really close attention to what is in there. And oftentimes we don't want to do that because that just brings up all the yuck. When we open up our closet that is either a mess or doesn't feel cohesive for whatever reason, we're bombarded with all of the reasons why it doesn't feel cohesive, and then we just feel lousy about ourselves. So again, as I've said a couple of times, I think we don't want to take all the emotion and the drama in with us. We want to look at this as a pretty neutral project. Okay, this is someone's closet, and right now it doesn't feel cohesive for her. How can I help? Pretend that you're not the person who owns the closet and wears the clothes. The drama and the emotion is where we get stuck and hung up and usually end up shoving it all back in and closing the doors, still not having a cohesive wardrobe. So get in there and really start to look at, what pieces do I love? What pieces do I wear? Are the two the same? Are they completely opposite? I love all these pieces, but I don't wear them. Why aren't you wearing them? Is it fit? Is it lifestyle? And begin to do the work to create the cohesive wardrobe. My wardrobe is cohesive. It is dialed in tight, really, truly. My tops and my bottoms all go together. My layers, with very few exception, all go on top of those tops and with the bottoms. Occasionally, I'll put on a cardigan that has patch pockets on it and a pair of cargo pants that have pockets, and I think this is kind of too many pockets. But it's not that I couldn't wear it. It's not that anyone else would maybe look at it and say, that's off. But there are a few of those in my closet, but they are very few. I don't want it to be difficult to get dressed. And so a cohesive wardrobe starts by being really intentional about what's in there, really intentional about what you want to look like when you get dressed. Again, Pinterest, free and easier to use than you might think if you don't already use it. There are lots of tutorials on YouTube for how to do that. Begin to create a vision for what a cohesive wardrobe looks like for you. If everything in your wardrobe is patterned and your Pinterest board is all solid neutrals, then it's time to really look at, do I love wearing these patterns? Are they a past version of me? Do I want to have a couple of them in my wardrobe, but I'm really missing some neutrals that will make it easy to wear the patterns? There is definitely a very deliberate way to go about this, and you can start anywhere. It's just that a cohesive wardrobe doesn't happen by accident. It happens by evaluating what's working, evaluating what's not, evaluating why, and assessing what's missing. It is all part of the process of creating a style and a wardrobe we love and we feel fabulous in when we wear it. It's just that if it doesn't feel cohesive, you want to kind of start anywhere and begin to get really curious and solve the problem, kind of, almost like detective style. Like, okay, I do not have a cohesive wardrobe, and that's important to me. I want one. What doesn't feel cohesive? Start there. I do this every week. Every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I work with clients, and I am digging into their brains with them to really get clear on what is a cohesive wardrobe to you. What will that look like? So I thank all of you for your questions. I love answering them, and I hope that it is helpful not only to the people who actually ask the question, but what is most personal is most universal. So if you are struggling with something, chances are someone else is also. So take the coaching that I offer and apply it. Even if your situation is slightly different, apply the coaching to your specific situation and kind of get curious and get in there and dig around. If you would like to find out more information about working with me one-on-one, style therapy is the way that I work with clients. It truly is such an amazing process for me to watch a client transform how they look and feel when they get dressed by first understanding how their thoughts and their feelings have been keeping them stuck. And style therapy has a brand new element that I'm very excited about that I'm just rolling out with my current clients. And that is the signature style system. And it is a very specific, measurable, goal-setting prescription where now we do all the mindset stuff and we get really clear on all of that. But perfectionists tend to like to be vague. We want a result, but we kind of aren't really sure what that result is because we want to keep all of our options open. And I find that with my clients too. So the signature style system actually creates very specific outcomes for wardrobes, and I'm going to say capsules, but it's not really a capsule wardrobe in the restrictive sense. It's just making sure you have the outfits to wear for every part of your life that you get dressed for, whether it's travel, whether it's workouts, whether it's, going to lunch with friends. We get really specific now, and I am very excited, and the clients who I am already doing this work with inside Style Therapy are loving the fact that there is now really truly a formula and a system for getting them the result that they are wanting. So if you are interested, you will now be part of the signature style system. That will be part of what we do inside Style Therapy. There is a link in both places, both my bio on Instagram and in the description below the YouTube videos. to book your sales call so that we can hop on a Zoom. I can hear about your style struggles. I can share with you exactly how style therapy would help. And then we can decide if working together is a good fit. I only work with a few women at a time. I only take on a handful of clients because I want you to have really, truly a deep dive with me into solving your struggles real time as we go through the process. So there are only a couple of openings. And if you would like one, don't hesitate, book your sales call. That is all I have for you today. I am going to see you in March next. I am very excited that when next we do this live Q&A, it will be just about a day and a half away from turning the clocks and having more daylight in the evening, which I'm very happy about. I hope that you have a beautiful weekend and a wonderful last couple of days of February. And I will be back next week on Tuesday. No, I'll be back next week on Friday. At 2, that's what I was trying to say, at 2 p.m. Mountain Time with another Q&A. If you have questions you would like me to answer and you are watching on YouTube, you can drop them below this video. After you watch this video, if you have a question, just write question for Q&A and drop in your question and I will get it to it next week. And on Instagram, I always put up the box, the question box the day before on Thursday, and you can DM me at any time. Okay, that's all. I hope you have a really beautiful rest of your day, and I'll have a new video coming out on Monday, and I think it's time to go have some lunch. Thanks for being here.